Yo, welcome back to the channel. So, if you're new here, well, I guess that's just a welcome. Anyway, we're here today to talk about Demon King Piccolo. So I got this comment, like right here, and so I just figured, hey, let's go ahead and go through Demon King Piccolo's history, compare it to some IRL ideas such as yin and yang, Buddhism, Taoism, stuff, such such stuff like that. And speaking of yin yang yo, anybody, you guys remember that show? That was pretty cool. Anyway, seriously, let's just I just think this is quite interesting to talk about, so thank you for commenting and talking about it, because you just got this idea in my little brain here. So anyway, as you may know, Demon King Piccolo and Kami, they're basically one and the same. And it's just, the thing is, Demon King Piccolo is just Kami's evil side. So, that's what kind of makes it relevant to Buddhism, because it's kind of like false enlightenment, if you will. Essentially, he's casting out the evil and suffering the consequences, which is, it taking form. But before I get into all that, let's just learn and understand. The nameless Namekian. All right, that's it. Yeah, packing it up. No, okay. So let's actually get into that. Let's dive deep. All right. So, as we all know, Piccolo is Kami. I just said that. But also known as the nameless Namekian, which is just both of them fused into one body. Before they defused, he was known as the nameless Namekian. And a little fun fact for y'all, Kami in Japanese actually means God. I'm sure a lot of you already know that. Pretty simple word there. But this is for those in the back. I see you. I see you. Don't think I don't. I do. I see you. But essentially, when they separated the evil out of the body, Piccolo took form and Kami took form. Kami, a force of good, later to become the guardian of Earth. But in doing so, Demon King Piccolo was released, which is the embodiment of evil and destruction. Yeah. Now, let's just be kind of clear here. I believe that this is different than Namekian fusion. By that I mean like Nail and Piccolo. Like they were actually just one entity, and then he drove out the evil. But before we really dive into the minutia of everything, let's actually just lore dump on how this came to be, how they split off, why they split off, what's going on here. Some lore dump. So, just gonna pop in a little bit earnestly here, sitting down in my chair, just chilling. Hey, so if you're enjoying the video, please leave it a like. Let's go for, 80 likes this time. Looks like my last video got 70, so maybe we could hit 80. Hey, I'm holding you to it. I'd appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I guess let's get right back into the video. I think it's really interesting lore, actually. So, this is kind of fun. Apparently, we actually know what their dad's name is, which is kind of weird, because I guess it's not that weird, but essentially, if you don't know, Namekians reproduce asexually through eggs. So I guess katas made them. They live dynamic, and that's a duh. Obviously, they're Namekians. But apparently, I guess there was some sort of disaster, and it killed many of the Namekians. So only a few of them survived. One is actually Grand Elder Kai, but if you're a TVS fan, you might know them as Super Kami Guru. No. Anyway, the reason why we know what his dad's name is because, bro, pretty much he got Goku'd. His dad sent him in the spaceship, and they landed on Earth. And well, Kami, Piccolo, the nameless Namekian, they survived. And I guess it's just Kami didn't even realize he was an alien until the Saiyan Saga, which is very interesting because he did end up living in the spaceship, so... Anyways, I actually did talk about this a bit more in depth on my last video about Popo and his possible origins. So, yeah, I don't know. Essentially, Popo just knows a lot about Kami that I guess Kami didn't really know himself. But that's enough advertisements of my last video. So, let's just get into some of the weird stuff, right here. Let's get into the interesting stuff. So I guess the nameless Namekian, I guess Kami, Piccolo, they competed with Garlic, to be clear, not Junior, just Garlic, for the Guardian of Earth, because he wanted to become one. But the Guardian at the time essentially asked him to release the evil within him, So, yeah, we got King Piccolo. High key, I gotta say, that's pretty irresponsible of the former Guardian. But moving on, Kami wins, of course, because he separated his evil. And I guess Garlic, was too selfish, so Kami was chosen. But, to be clear, a lot of this stuff is just like anime only, like this backstory. Like, it is in the manga, but it's basically what I said in the beginning. He's on Earth, he split, becomes Guardian, bada bing, bada boom. Wow. Whereas the anime is kind of is explored a bit more. But it's still fun to speak about, so there's that. But yeah, essentially everything that we learned was from what Popo said in the manga. So none of this is really like true or canon, but remember Toritoro said everything's canon. But I don't know, that's like a fun little backstory to get into. But to continue on, for as to what I was saying, this is still before original Dragon Ball, and the Dragon Balls weren't even made at this point apparently. But King Piccolo is out and about causing a ruckus because Kami is the new Guardian, but he's just watching this all from the lookout. He's being an observer. But thank goodness that Earth actually has people out there like Master Mutaito. He is actually a really big part of one of my most popular shorts, because Master Mutaito is really cool. I'll get into that in a moment. But essentially, so King Piccolo out there causing crazy rampage, killing, going crazy. But Master Mutaito does the Mafupa, essentially trapping Demon King Piccolo into an electric rice cooker. Now, mind you, this is 300 years, like, in the past, essentially. But it's ending the reign of King Piccolo. And, he's sealing King Piccolo, not killing King Piccolo. So Kami gets to live. And because of this act of bravery, Kami then creates the Dragon Balls as kind of like a reward for the humans, an incentive to, well, do more good deeds and be good. But before I move on, I do, again, like I said, I was going to come back to it. Master Mutaito is like a real guy, man. So if you don't know, Master Mutaito is Roshi and Shen's teacher. So without Master Mutaito, I don't think Goku would have been as powerful. But yeah, essentially he's their teacher, meaning he's the OG. But he's not just a OG, he is the OG. I don't know, Master Mutaito's just like really cool, man. Regardless, well, we kind of went through the old times. So now I guess we can move on to Dragon Ball and then Z. So time to talk about the... So that Emperor Pilaf fella, right? Quite funny, huh? You like that guy? Well, he's released Demon King Piccolo, officially setting off the King Piccolo saga. So Piccolo, makes some babies, shoots some eggs out of his mouth, spits them all out, gets some offspring, and then the rampage begins. Tambourine folds Krillin, and he never gets back up. Yeah, he's dead, man. Essentially, King Piccolo wants to end the lives of all martial artists, which is pretty petty, because the reason being is Master Mutaito took him out 200 years ago. So he's just like, God, no. It's just like King Piccolo doesn't want opposition. And I would assume he's a bit scared that he's going to get taken out again. He's not trying to live in a rice cooker for hundreds of years, or a pot, or whatever he would get sealed in. But essentially, his henchman kids also kind of died out of nowhere. And he encountered young Goku. And, like a kid like Goku is kind of like fodder to King Piccolo. So he killed young Goku too. Well, at least he thinks he did. But yeah, I talked about this in the Chaozu video, actually. But King Piccolo essentially wants to get the Dragon Balls, War Domination, and all that stuff. But he wants the Dragon Balls because he wants to be in his prime. He wants to be in his young body, right? And essentially, he gets the Dragon Balls. Master Roshi's dead. And Chaozu tries to, stop King Piccolo. Obviously, Chaozu, not strong enough, gets swatted and just basically dies instantly. Very sad stuff. But King Piccolo gets his wish. Demon King Piccolo gets his wish and becomes younger. But he also kills Shenron in the process, which is kind of crazy. I think that's really interesting. He just doesn't want anybody to mess with his plans, especially the dragon. Probably like Jiren a little bit, just doesn't trust dragons. But seriously, so essentially, obviously the Dragon Balls weren't coming back because he killed the dragon. He didn't want anybody trying to mess with him with a wish, nothing. So, yeah. And I think that's totally insane and really dark, especially for OG Dragon Ball. But regardless, King Piccolo just wants world domination, like I said. So he gets into King Furry's castle and takes King Furry hostage. Now, for reference, if you guys don't know, King Furry is the king of Earth. Now, in Gekishin Squadra, they actually changed his name to World King. I'm imagining they just thought King Furry was a little too weird for English translation. But yeah, so now King Piccolo has the leader of Earth. Goku finally is back, stronger than ever. Punches Demon King Piccolo right through the chest. As King Piccolo is about to die, he spits out another egg and explodes. But spitting out that egg is how we got Piccolo Jr., which is the reincarnation of Demon King Piccolo. Although I like to think it's more so like his son, because he doesn't. I don't know. Anyways, point being, he has the Junior moniker, so that's why I think that. But the egg was kind of a good thing because Kami ended up not dying because it is the reincarnation of Demon King Piccolo, so he's tied to Kami. But essentially, he shot that egg out because he wants Junior to take revenge on Goku. But he did save Kami, so yay. Now, I could kind of just like stop here, I feel, and say, yep, that's the end of Demon King Piccolo. But I feel like that's a bit unfair. And I only say that because now we're on Piccolo Jr., which is obviously a different entity. All right, so keep in mind, I could basically stop here and say, yep, that's it, because technically that's the end of Demon King Piccolo. But I feel like that's a little bit unfair. And I likely won't go as in depth in this section. Like, I won't go super crazy, like, into details. But I do want you to know that Piccolo Jr. is stronger than Demon King Piccolo. I mean, he is the next villain after all. And obviously, for plot reasons, he's got to be a bit stronger. Now, in my Popo video, I did talk a little bit how Goku met Popo and saw Kami. But what I failed to really mention was, not only did he train with them, when he first saw Kami, Goku, well, mistaked Kami for Piccolo, which isn't technically wrong, because they are one and the same. It's just Kami's the good side, whereas Piccolo's the evil side. But anyway, Kami ends up reviving Shenron because, well, Goku got Piccolo killed, and obviously now we have Piccolo Jr., but he killed Demon King Piccolo, so he's like, you know what? Let's reward. So he gets Shenron back, and everybody who died from Demon King Piccolo is now revived. And as I said, Goku ends up training with Popo and, you know, Kami for the 23rd Budokai, so he can finally be ready to face Ma Jr., Piccolo Jr. But yeah, now the interesting part about this is, so again, this is a video about Kami, so I'm not really going to go into like full depth about like what Goku's doing and stuff. But essentially, I don't know if we've ever seen this since, but if you don't know if you know this, Kami takes the body of a guy named Shin, all right? And he ends up fighting a lot of contestants and Yamcha in the tournament. And then he ends up 1v1ing Piccolo Jr., so I guess himself, technically. Now, he tries to use the Mafaba, the evil containment wave, but Piccolo ends up reversing it. And now Kami's in the dang bottle, the jar, you know, whatever you want to call it. And Piccolo's a nasty, crazy dude. He's that throat goat, let me tell you what, because he eats the bottle. And obviously that puts Goku at unease because, well, Goku has to fight Piccolo and he doesn't want to kill Kami. And this is the tournament after all. So, I mean, I guess technically you wouldn't want to kill him, but they obviously want him to die. So it just complicates things to a point where it's like, come on, man. But essentially, you know, Piccolo ends up growing larger, like a giant, which is why it's kind of cool that it happened in Dragon Ball Superhero, because honestly, I feel like they forgot Piccolo could do this. But apparently, I guess Goku tricks Piccolo to grow, and then Goku tries to pull Kami out of, well, Piccolo, because Piccolo's massive. So Goku could fit inside, you know, Piccolo, and just essentially pull Kami out, which he does. And I don't know, I think it's pretty cool, all things considered. This is why I kind of like original Dragon Ball a little bit. There's a lot more strategy instead of just like, I'm stronger. No, that strategy right there. But eventually, obviously, Goku wins, and he doesn't kill Piccolo. Because, well, one, you'd be disqualified from the One, you would be disqualified from the tournament. And more importantly, Kami would die too. And obviously, Goku doesn't want Kami to die. So, there's that. Now, there's obviously a lot more nuance into this. It's not just, I want him alive. I mean, Piccolo's a strong fighter. Obviously, you know Goku, he wants to fight strong fighters all the time. But essentially, we get to the Saiyan Saga, and we kind of know how this goes. Raditz shows up. Piccolo and Goku team up. Piccolo eventually gets his revenge on Goku with the Special Beam Cannon. Special Beam Cannon! Oh! More Saiyans are coming, so he kidnaps Gohan. Which is interesting, because that's Kami's evil, that's evil counterpart. But that's kind of when we find out he's not really that evil after all. Because the kid essentially softens of Piccolo Jr. I'm just going to call him Piccolo from now on, guys. So when I say Piccolo, I mean Piccolo, the aura farmer himself. So essentially, Piccolo becomes chill like that. To the point, like, up to the Cell Saga, he's pretty chill. Piccolo and Kami fuse, becoming one again. And, well, it's back to the nameless Namekian. Piccolo. Got a name now. Yes, I did skip the Garlic Jr. filler. I'm not talking about that crap. But later, Dende becomes the Guardian of Earth. So now Piccolo is just kind of part of the crew. And as I said before, designated aura farmer. No introduction. We all know that he likes to... Anyway, let's get into the... Now, I'm going to go into some aspects of Buddhism, Taoism. I'm not going to go super in depth because there's really not much to say. I feel like this is pretty black and white. I guess there's a little gray here. And obviously, this isn't true fact. This isn't like 100%. But I think this is an interesting thought process to talk about. So essentially, it's believed that Earth's guardian in Dragon Ball is you should be pure. Hence, the last guardian told Kami to expel his evil. And in doing so, he's rejecting any ambition, pride. Just, sometimes it's okay to have those. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not entirely pure, that's fine. But in doing so, releasing all of the evil, or like all that hatred and all stuff, Kami became purified, but the Demon King Piccolo, that's the darkness from within. It took shape, personified. The evil was not destroyed, but like I said, personified. So this isn't really good. So if you're unaware, in the Buddhist beliefs, essentially, to my understanding, you should really confront and not repress the bad traits, which are called hishas. They are mental poisons, and you should not suppress them as it causes suffering. Now, here's the thing. Kami did not overcome the hatred, the pride. He casted them out, which is allowing the demon to form from spiritual failure. The false enlightenment, if you will, a Mada is formed, which is essentially a demon. And that's Piccolo, Doing all that's pretty bad karma. So his actions had consequences. Now, to talk about this in a sort of Taoist way, yin-yang, light and dark, essentially they're dependent of each other, and taking away one causes the other to falter. So since Kami removed his yin, his darkness, that caused an imbalance. So Piccolo, being the darkness, is violent, wants to take over, he's trying to get world domination, whereas Kami, the light, the yang, ends up becoming more passive and virtually powerless as a result. Like as before, he was on the lookout, he was watching, he didn't intervene. Now he did attempt to in the 23rd Budokai, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, it was futile. So the interesting part about all this is if one of them dies, so does the other. So they're kind of intertwined like this. To me, it's like a cosmic force that's holding them together. Yin and yang. At least that's, to me, how I'm thinking it. This is how I'm seeing it. Again, you could agree to disagree. It's fine. I'm just saying what I want to say. Now, the most interesting part about this is that in both beliefs, especially when compared to Dragon Ball and Kami, to me at least, like especially during the Cell Saga, they fuse once again, all right? Piccolo becomes stronger as a result, mentally, physically, the whole shebang. While, obviously Piccolo Jr. and Demon King Piccolo are not one and the same. They represent the same thing pretty much. The part that is really neat about this, though, is it seems like Gohan really softened up Piccolo Jr. Having people that truly care for him essentially taught him and pushed him through, like, the hardest of, his bad thoughts. We even see him meditate a lot of the time. He's aura farming, but he's meditating. Come on, guys. Now, clearing his mind and all that stuff, he's finding himself, He's at ease. And in doing so, he's confronting his evil thoughts. He's confronting them. He's not like super hard, like casting them out. He's suppressing them. He's understanding. He's not casting them out. Piccolo Jr. actually develops and grows. He gets honor. He restrains himself, all right? And he has compassion, all right? He saved Gohan, took his own life to save the kid. If that's not compassion, I don't know what is. Now, Kami may have rejected and casted out like all those evil thoughts, but Piccolo Jr. truly found himself, all right? He integrated into the group. He may not be perfect, and, but he did find some balance. And when he ended up fusing back with Kami once again, they're now complete. Balanced and a true guardian. Not just Earth's, but, for his friends and stuff. As cliche as that sounds. Again, he isn't perfect. No one's perfect. But he is whole once again. The yin, the yang, enlightened in its own way. Piccolo Jr. for you. Now, I guess it's kind of time to talk about the conclusion. So, while this isn't quite as in-depth as my last videos, I'm not like comparing Piccolo to like a deity or like folklore or anything crazy like that. I still feel like the essence is there. And, I believe that these beliefs could have been somewhat of an influence in the creation and story of Piccolo. That or it's just really cool. Regardless, I just took the suggestion in the comments and I hope y'all enjoyed. And if you did, please leave a like. And if you have any more suggestions, thoughts, maybe I missed something, maybe I didn't go too deep, just let me know. And I guess that's about it. Peace.